onto her feet.
All right, how about the score for Chiles? 14-1 on floor exercise in the green. You saw that satisfaction.
At the Paris Olympics, Jordan Chiles stepped onto Bercy Arena with a hopeful heart and a determination to alter her story from Tokyo. After weeks of training and a Beyoncé-inspired floor routine, she looked like she was prepared to make amends. She and her fans are still confused about how such a talented gymnast could have missed the finals by only 0.067 points, since the 2-per-country rule prevented her from competing in the all-around. Some sportsmen are unquestionably the best of all time. The only thing I feel toward her is respect. Her friendship with me feels like having a big sister, and she has been amazing, according to one of her fans. After the Olympics in Tokyo, Jordan Chiles plans to make an impression in Paris.
It's been crazy. You know, this victory was definitely something that we all have wanted to accomplish. Obviously, it was a little harder in Tokyo, but this time it felt easier, and every memory, every experience that we have together, we're definitely going to cherish it.
Chiles had to get over the disappointment of not making it to the individual finals in Tokyo because of her uneven bar and balance beam struggles. Going back up to the peak was no picnic for her. Countless hours were devoted to honing her skills and becoming an expert at every gym routine. She trained herself physically and mentally to be as tough as any athlete. It could be said that she was practically living it up in the gym, perfecting her landings and facial expressions and all. In addition, Chiles had to overcome the emotional scars she had sustained during her previous Olympic Games. Gymnastics requires mental toughness as much as physical preparation. By collaborating closely with her coaches and sports psychologists, Chiles bolstered her self-confidence and sharpened her concentration to the point where she could compete at the highest level. Embracing pressure and using it to propel performance was more than just picking up new skills. It was about developing a new mindset. When Jordan Chiles arrived in Paris for the Olympics, he had lofty goals. The USA gymnastics team, of which she was a part, is famously the best in the world, and she was no exception. Many were eagerly anticipating her return, with fans and experts alike wondering whether she would be able to redeem herself. The stage was set. Chiles had an opportunity to put Tokyo in the past and start a new chapter in her Olympic story.
Kind of just realizing that we really came out here and did everything that we needed to do. And obviously, the previous event I fell, so I just wanted to come out and redeem myself on floor, and so at that.
Many were anticipating her return from injury because of the buzz surrounding her potential as the game's breakout star. However, the truth can be brutal in a randomly occurring sport like gymnastics. Chiles gave it her all and did her best, but she encountered an unforeseen obstacle. The 2-per-country rule, which limits each nation to a maximum of 2 gymnasts in the finals, was a major roadblock. She was disqualified from competing in the finals due to a rule, even though she placed 4th in the all-around qualifying, behind only Brazilian Rebecca Andrade, Sunisa Lee, and Simone Biles. Given how much work had gone into preparation, it was a bitter pill to swallow. Jordan Chiles' performance at the Bercy Arena Subdivision 2 qualifications was met with electric energy. Her opportunity to shine had finally arrived. She could finally put her Tokyo struggles behind her and show the world what she could do. The first exercise was the balance beam, and it's well known that this apparatus can make or ruin a gymnast's day. Although Chiles got off to a strong start, not everyone can handle the balance beam. She had to double-check her back handspring BHS in order to lay out the step out, and her front aerial was slightly shaky. Despite these minor obstacles, she persevered and completed her routine on the beam. Her 13.6 was not quite up to par, but it was still better than she had hoped. The following was the floor exercise, which Chiles dominated by mimicking Beyoncé's moves. Her self-assurance was contagious, and she held the attention of both the judges and the audience. She seemed to be dancing her fears away because her performance was so full of joy. She did a front full to full in and then the challenging Chuso Vatina Chuso without a hitch. The little forward hop was more than compensated for by her charisma and enthusiasm. At the conclusion of the routine, which featured a full twisting piked Shushinova, the audience went wild. She proved her strength and accuracy with a final floor exercise score of 13.86, which was equal to an average score of 14.26. Although some of the judges were critical of her technique and the height she had attained, the vast majority of their comments were positive. Finally, Chiles faced the uneven bars, a challenge she had overcome before.
Onto her feet.
All right, how about the score for Chiles? 14-1 on floor exercise in the green. You saw that satisfaction.
A piked Jaeger and a Maloney half were the first steps in her routine. She seemed to be slightly off her pack for a short moment, but she recovered incredibly well. A Maloney and a Ganger were added to her set, and she finished with a full out. She got a 14.26 for the routine, which included a slightly off dismount. The work Chiles had done to perfect her craft and gain the consistency she needed was plain to see. Watching talented gymnasts like Jordan Chiles struggle under the 2-per-country rule makes the rule seem even more severe. The individual finals, which include apparatus and all-around gymnasts, are limited to 2 competitors per nation per event due to this regulation. The idea is to level the playing field so that countries with less resources and influence can send athletes to the finals and compete for medals instead of having the likes of Russia, China, and the US dominate. Providing equal opportunities and showcasing a wider variety of talent seems like a reasonable goal in theory, but in practice it can lead to some extremely painful situations. As an example, think about Jordan Chiles. During the Paris Olympic qualification process, she excelled and finished in the top 3 in every event. Considering that only the top 24 gymnasts make it to the finals, her total score was good enough to get her 4th place in the all-around.
Take me through that the performance on the floor afterwards, when you nailed it, the emotions that you let out. What was that feeling like?
This ought to have been sufficient to ensure her qualification for the finals, but there were problems because each country could only have 2. Overall, Chiles placed 4th, but she led Team USA in scoring with 3 points behind only Sunisa Lee and Simone Biles. The all-around final only allows 2 gymnasts per country, so Chile was left out even though they had a higher score than most of the qualifiers. Just when you think you've given it your all in training, someone says, "Sorry, not this time." It's tough to swallow, especially considering how close the race was. Sunisa Lee beat Chiles by a hair's breadth. There has been previous controversy surrounding the 2-per-country rule. At the 2016 Rio Olympics, a comparable thing happened. The top 3 finishers in the qualifications were Simone Biles, Aly Raisman, and Gabby Douglas. Biles and Raisman were the only competitors to advance to the all-around final due to the rule. Gabby Douglas was not able to challenge for an all-around medal despite being a top gymnast. Both the athletes and the fans get excited about these kinds of moments. Others argue that the rule guarantees a more equal distribution of opportunities, while proponents of the rule argue that excluding the top athletes from competition reduces the level of competition. Jordan Chiles' devastating disappointment at not advancing to the all-around final was palpable. Though her disappointment was palpable, a spark of determination shone through her eyes. She never gives up. Chiles reflected on her journey and recognized the profound transformation that had occurred within her since Tokyo. In spite of the disappointment, her performance was clearly something she was proud of. Her coach, Cecile Landy, said what a lot of people were thinking. Many people in the gymnastics community and beyond were very vocal about their disapproval of the 2-per-country rule. Some fans were really upset because they thought Chiles should have been in the championship game all along, but for the rule. They insisted that gymnasts of all nations should take part. The rule has its detractors, but its proponents say it promotes diversity and gives athletes from weaker countries a chance to compete at a high level. The disappointment of missing out on the all-around championship has not been without its silver lining for Jordan Chiles. She made it to the floor exercise finals with her Beyoncé-inspired routine, which has become quite popular. It says a lot about her character and dedication to the game that she kept competing even after suffering such a defeat. So what are your thoughts on the matter? Please share your thoughts in the space provided.